Here's left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Out, SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
Edition of the Top Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Dolan Huntzinger at Thunder Chats, where you're part of the Big League Network. This podcast brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Now that's out of the way, we're back. We're back. Not only is Top of Thunder back after, I think, like a little bit over a week at this point, but the Thunder are so back. The Thunder are healthy, and they are looking dominant, and the league should be afraid. But as I said, we're back. I'm your host. I already said that. I'm very tired. It's very late. I was asleep, but kind of getting back to it, I'm also joined by two lovely gentlemen. First of all, joining us from the Bat Cave. Yeah, I think it's the Bat Cave. I've lost track of my Gotham City locations. It's Alex Roy. What up, Alex?
What up, man? I'm good, man. I'm good. Glad to see the Thunder back. You know, it's crappy that they made us wait till 8:30 at night to watch them, but glad to see them back nonetheless.
It felt like way too long, honestly. But it was, I mean, it was great to see him again. It's great to see you guys again. And it's great to see the guy that we get up for very late all these Fridays.
Oh, do you?
Especially the man with the plan, Dolan. What up, Dolan?
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Happy that the Jazz decided to make every single shot they threw up from like the middle of the third quarter through like the start of the fourth quarter, like kept the game interesting. We got to see another, Shea segment. That was very nice of them because it looked like it was going to get out of hand, and then they just started making everything, including Lauri Markkanen making his only three that he made off the backboard. And like it was crazy, the shots they were throwing up for a little bit there.
That was disgusting. He didn't even call glass.
And I lose a lot of respect for a player if they bank in a three and then they don't have a moment of like laughter or a shrug or whatever, like a moment of, oops, I didn't do that on purpose. Because he was just like calling defensive signals or whatever. And I don't appreciate it.
No honor. We'll throw back in the Top of Thunder lore. No honor. But yeah, no, it's great to see you guys again. As I was discussing, I will be seeing you guys in not Dolan. I'll be seeing Dolan in 27 days. I'll be seeing Alex in 25 days. I'll be seeing a lot of you guys, some of the listeners, in 27 days for a Top Thunder fan event. That's going to be awesome. We'll talk some more about that as the pod goes on. But we're going to dive into tonight's game. We're going to dive into what's important. And before we talk about anything, I just got to say a little bit of Thunder news. What a Pro Wants To is happening, boys. Are you excited? Are you ready?
Hey, I hope Dub is going to be in this.
Genie in a bottle.
Yeah.
Hey.
They should do Genie in a bottle.
They really should.
Some like uniforms. So what if they're doing like Oops, I Did It Again?
Yeah, Dub did kind of like Britney Spears and Oops, I Did It Again.
Or what was it? Hit Me Baby One More Time. I don't know. It's one of those Britney Spears.
I don't. But you can't mix your Christina and your Britney.
That's true.
You can't do that. You weren't around. That's controversial. They had
maybe we could bring Justin into the mix
until they kissed.
Might as well bring Madonna on there.
90s lore.
Yes, 90s lore. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I think somebody posted on Reddit and then it got posted on Twitter, but somebody was the extra in a commercial. They had no idea what they were signing up for in OKC. And they go there, and it's like, oh, it's Jalen Williams, Holmgren, and Jacob Alexander. This is what a pro wants to. This is going to be amazing.
It looks like an outtake from The Hangover.
Hey, I mean, it is really cool to see. It is really cool to see Jalen Williams being a part of it. It's cool to see Shea and Chet linking up, but yeah, it's cool to see Dub getting in here. So I'm getting complaints from everybody on the chat, apparently in our chat, that my mic situation is not doing great. I don't know what happened. I was talking before we started recording. It's my AirPods.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to I guess I'm gonna try to recalibrate, and I'm gonna let you guys jump
Turn them
in the
off and
single
back
large
on
item.
and check your settings. Check your app
Yeah.
settings.
Yeah.
We'll try it out, but yeah, I will jump off here for a second, and you guys go ahead, single large item.
Man, I thought that was a good game because it was, even though it was out of reach for Utah, it was competitive nonetheless. So we got to see the guys kind of play a real game. And it was good, as far as I'll just go ahead and jump into my single large item. I thought it was great to see Chet out there for an extended period of time. And I honestly, the best thing about tonight was seeing him get hit and fall to the ground a couple times and get up just fine. Like there was a couple plays where like he did the whole go for a block and get hit by somebody's knees or get hit by somebody's full body, and a couple times he fell down. Just like D Wade used to say, fall down, get back up. So I was
8
happy.
times, get back up 9 times.
Yeah, get back up 9 times. I was
I
happy
don't
to see
think that
that.
ever made sense, but I do appreciate the attitude.
I mean, hey. But I mean, hey, 7 of 15 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. That first one that he hit, that was crazy. That was a great shot. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. Vintage Chet night. And it was a vintage Chet night that we haven't seen in a while, that we haven't seen since he got injured, against Golden State in the 10th game of the season. So it was good to see that. It was good to see him get back to where he was. The All-Star break, I think, did him real good. And I hope to see, this version of Chet from here on out and into the playoffs. Like, if we can get this version of Chet, if we can get the version of Chet that we had in the first 9 games of the season, like you talk about an addition at the trade deadline, like that was, that's the person that we were waiting for. And so if we're able to get that type of player, that type of, just talent out there, it makes this team even more deadly.
Yeah, so there was at least twice on fast breaks that he got fouled and crashed to the ground. He dove for a loose ball, and landed right on his hip. I don't remember.
Is that the one where he grabbed the ball and it was a jump ball?
Yeah. And so it's good to see that fearlessness out of landing, of being on the ground, because I mean, you can see it. He's still a little rusty. Like it's mostly like timing based stuff, or like how early in his career he was a little loose with the handle because like the speed, the quickness of the defenders would surprise him a little bit. See, he's like getting his head wrapped around that stuff again, which is fine. But like the athleticism is there, the fearlessness is there. He's running the break, handling the ball, and splitting defenders, and covering ground on defense, and like he get ISO'd on like Jordan Clarkson and didn't get blown by. Like it's all still there, and the timing will get back. I'm not worried about that at all. You're just worried about is he a step slow, and I don't think he is. I think he's back.
Yeah. Do I sound better? No. God bless America. Why? Hold on. Let me try to switch to my.
Does that sound better?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't hear you in my AirPods now, so that's cool. That's fine. All right. Yeah. No. I was just looking at his stats. I mean, 20.7 rebounds. Like, this is the most points that he scored since his injury. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So good to see him back. In the volume scoring kind of mindset here. Obviously, his shooting is still coming around. Like, he made the first one. As you said, like that first one was nasty. The whole play, like the whole team was kind of involved. Shea was bringing the ball up. He kicked it to Dort, kicked it to Dub. Dub drove in, dumped it to iHeart. iHeart got swallowed in traffic, and he did like a no look out to Chet. And then Chet, of course, had the step back 3 in the corner. And at that point, like that was the first bit of Thunder basketball that we've gotten to see in over a week, and I was going nuts. Of course, his shot kind of came back down. Not even came back down to earth. It just, it didn't stay that high. It was 1 of 4 from 3. But the thing that was most impressive to me, like you guys were saying, he fell down, he took contact, he got back up. But it wasn't necessarily the shooting that was so impressive about Chet earlier in the year. Like, yeah, that's a big part of it, and that's a huge part of the allure of Chet Holmgren. But it's the driving. It's the fast break. Like, he looks more comfortable off drives. He looks like he's able to get by his man. He's creating space. He's creating advantages, and it's really impressive. You know, it creates a new it creates new problems for the defense with Chet Holmgren as a driver and a finisher. And you know, he had a couple really nice finishes tonight. You know, I don't think I can't remember if he got a single dunk off, but like he had, like I said, some really nice finishes. He had one in traffic over like two guys off fast break, off the dump off. And then of course, you know, driving in off the fast break, you know, just by himself, taking it coast to coast. I was very impressed with Chet, and I think that we're going to see him get more comfortable as we go on. I think those first few games before the All-Star break was just like, hey, man, get your licks in, learn how to trust yourself again, learn how to, you know, kind of like get in that mindset. And now that we're post All-Star break, it's like, all right, man, it's time to hoop. Like, you know, you got this now. Like, let's get you hooping. And he's been hooping.
I actually think for those games before the All-Star break, they kind of told him, hey, play hard on defense, but low key, like kind of take it easy on offense, and we're not going to really involve you. That's what I hope happened anyways, but that's kind of what it looked like, right? They weren't running actions for him. They weren't even really finding him all that much, but tonight he was involved like consistently, whether setting a screen or, you know, getting a dump off pass. Utah was in a zone most of the game, and they kept finding him in the middle, especially in the second half, and he was just tearing it up. So yeah, it's just really good to see him as involved as he was. And man, I don't know, like when I'm like, my eye test tells me that like it's a little clunky with the double bigs on offense sometimes, and I haven't seen the numbers for tonight, but the numbers do not back that up so far. And small sample size, right? We're now 4 games in, and again, I haven't seen the numbers for tonight, but I think they were really good. That double big lineup is just killing teams so far, and it's a combination of the defense, and it's also like they're absolutely smashing teams on the glass, on the offensive glass, which is really refreshing. Like, we are not used to that. So I think they're running the double bigs as much as possible right now to just kind of like grow the sample and give as much time to practice it and work out kinks as they can. But I mean, I think it's pretty promising in these early days.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just going to get better. You know, the more reps that we get of it, you know, as Chet kind of develops his jump shot, you know, 3-point shot specifically, like, you know, it'll provide more spacing and it won't be as clunky. Something, you know, they talked about in the chat. Let's see here. Yeah, shout out to you. He said, really pleased with how they attacked the zone. I think they did a really good job of utilizing Chet and iHeart as like that guy that like gets the ball in the middle of the zone and makes something happen, whether it's get a bucket or kick it out to 3 or kick it off to somebody cutting baseline. I think they did a really good job of utilizing that, and that's easy. Like, it's kind of easy to do whenever it's like a single big, like, hey, like that's your role. Like, you know, get it to the cutters, get it to the guys out of the 3-point line. But when you have 2 bigs, like that's easier said than done. But I mean, obviously, iHeart's been killing it all year, you know, with the playmaking out of the mid post. And he had one play where he actually tried to link up with Chet on a cut that would have been a crazy lob. But, you know, didn't connect right away. But again, these guys are still learning how to play with each other. And if that's happening and you're able to, you know, have those 2 bigs on the floor, you have iHeart as that mid post guy that can, you know, you have him as a threat, as a passer, and you have Chet Holmgren, who still getting comfortable with his body, still like kind of getting comfortable on the court again. If he's that effective as a cutter to get like a wide open cut baseline as an alley-oop like that, that's just a whole new dimension of offense that teams are gonna have to account for.
They had a play in the first quarter where Utah was running zone, and it was SGA that was at the nail, and he literally got the ball, just turned around, nobody was around him, and he shot it. You know, like they're testing, they're looking at different ways to beat the zone, and like putting SGA in that position throws the defense completely off. You know, you have a guard that's, you know, on the nail, you know, they're at the free throw line, and it just completely throws the defense off. So I love this game because of that. You know, literally Utah, they ran zone for almost the entire game. And so it was a good way. It was kind of like a practice, like to have a practice in a real game scenario where you're having zone all the time played against you, and you're having zone played against you with a team that's very scrappy. You have Walker Kessler out there. You have, John
And
Collins.
big.
And big, yeah, and big. Not necessarily, Laurie Markkinen, all guys that are 6'10", 6 foot, 7 foot, long arms, and you're going to see that in the playoffs. Teams in the playoffs, it turns into a half court game, and they want to, go after your weaknesses. And just about the only weakness for the Thunder is when you put them in a zone, and SGA is having to find somebody else. If you can find ways to kind of shift the offense and shift the players around and confuse the defense a little bit, in the playoffs, they'll have to switch back to man. And once you switch back to man, that's what the Thunder want. And so I thought this was a great game to kind of, give ourselves a practice against a zoning team, and just get more data points for Mark to kind of, and the coaching staff to kind of look over and be like, hey, this situation, this is what we may do. This situation, this is what we may do. And I just thought it was a good game for that.
Yeah, and Chet last year was one of the most efficient players in that 5 to 7 foot range. Like he's just money from that area. And we know Hartenstein has the floater in that same spot, which is just nails. And then obviously if Shea can get in there. So I think between those three, if you can get to that soft spot in the zone with any one of those three, just scoring from there or passing from there, I think that's the Thunder's recipe, and it's a pretty simple one. I will say I don't think the Jazz were very good at playing zone, but I appreciate them trying and giving us the practice. Now maybe the Thunder were making it look bad. I mean the Thunder were I think there was an emphasis on skip passes. They kept throwing the ball all the way across the defense in transition and against the half court, and then dumping it into the middle. There was a lot more movement, a lot more screening on the top of the zone, and then hitting the short roll. So yeah, I think they came out with a good plan. Maybe they worked on it on the second little mini camp they got to have.
I mean, going against the zone looks very good whenever you're shooting 44% from three.
It's true. And that cooled off too, right? It was hotter than that in the first half.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, part of having a good zone is having good defenders at the top of the zone. And Isaiah Collier, Jordan Clarkson, that's not them. So
Keontae George, that's not them.
Yeah. Then they had Jaden Springer trying to harass Shea for a while. That didn't really work out for them. So yeah, I mean, Utah's got some things to figure out. But let's. I think we're talking about Chet and Nyhart. And now Shea being an option there at the nail as a guy in the middle of the zone. I feel like you could probably, if you wanted to, really get creative with it, I think you could. There's a number of guys you can use in that spot. I think you could use Dub in that spot. Dub's proven to be an effective and efficient mid-range shooter as well as a strong playmaker. I don't know, man. If Wiggins is passing tonight, you could almost use Aaron Wiggins there in the middle of the zone.
Or you can use Kenrich, zone buster Williams, just give it to him at the top of the key at 27 feet, and he'll make it every time apparently.
Yeah, he's been on fire lately, man. He's been so great for us. All right, we're kind of tiptoeing around the rest of the game. So Alex did sing large item. Dolan, let's hear you sing large item.
Well, I was thinking about doing the zone, but I think we covered it. I guess I'll go Thunder depth. As we all know, going into this game, this is the healthiest the Thunder have been all season long. Topic and AJ are the only two people on the injury report. And I think if you look at the people who played tonight up until garbage time, I think that's the playoff rotation. I think Mark gave us a look at, and maybe, I don't know, like I said, I think they're trying to emphasize the double bigs right now. Maybe it's not minute for minute what the playoff rotation will look like, but I think it's these guys, right? Which is Shea, Dort, Chet, Hartenstein. What am I doing? Hartenstein.
What are you doing?
I'm disappointed.
Why are you Matty double dribbling the names?
I'm doing. And Dub, and then off the bench, we've got Caruso, Queso, Joe, Wiggins, and Kenrich.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jalen played. Did Jalen play at all tonight?
He did not.
He did not. He did not.
DMP CD. So weird.
And yeah, and so yeah, I think but I think that's the 10, right? And that's a very that's a 10-man rotation that makes sense. Maybe you'd like a little bit more ball handling off the bench, but I don't think AJ he might be back right as the playoffs start is kind of what I'm thinking, and I don't think that's really fair to a rookie to just throw him in rusty. So I think that might be the 10 we're looking at. And the moment it struck me was at some point in the second quarter, Cason Wallace hit a 3 and then came down on the other end and was just harassing the ball handler and all up in their business. And I was like, oh yeah, we have Cason Wallace too. I forgot about him. He's the 9th guy in the rotation tonight and is just absolutely terrifying on defense and can make threes. It's just not fair, the depth the Thunder have. And most teams aren't able to go 8 deep with players they actually trust in the playoffs. And I feel like the Thunder have 10. And obviously, with it being the first night they were all healthy, it's the first night that I've been able to be oh my God, this is terrifying.
Yeah, and talking about Cason Wallace, his energy has been missed here recently. We've been able to pull out most of these victories, but his energy can't really be replicated. I mean, if you just look at the stats, he had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, but he also had 2 offensive rebounds, which both of those offensive rebounds led to Jalen Williams threes. Both those offensive rebounds led to 2 assists to Jalen Williams threes. And yeah, I mean, shout out to Dub, by the way. 3-point shots coming back for Jalen Williams right in the nick of time. Appreciate that. But yeah, man, I mean, looking at the bench, people are talking about how we need more ball handling, we need more playmaking off the bench, we need, a guy that can come in and take that role. I don't know, man. If tonight is any indication, we might be able to get it done by committee. Cason Wallace 5 assists, Aaron Wiggins 5 assists, Alex Caruso 6 assists. Those are our. I mean, even Isaiah Joe. You don't look at Isaiah Joe and think playmaker, but he had 2 assists tonight on himself. I'm those are our 4 bench guard/wing guys, and I mean they all did a phenomenal job. For whatever reason, Aaron Wiggins' playmaking just popped for me tonight. I felt like he was making more reads tonight than I've seen him make all season. But yeah, I mean, obviously Caruso, that's been a skill that he's had, and Cason's been improving in that area. But yeah, whenever they're all playing like that tonight, man, it's gonna be tough to beat, and it's not just what they're able to do playmaking or shooting, but as you said, man, these guys are just menaces defensively. Caruso. I need you to calm down a little bit before playoffs, man, because I feel like anytime a ball is loose, he is nosediving. And he
was looking spry tonight. Didn't seem like it. I feel like he is energetic this evening.
He's had some time to recuperate, man.
Right.
Until the next time. So, but yeah, man, no, they were all very impressive tonight, and whenever you can get that from your bench, it's huge.
Yeah, man. Kind of weird that Jay Will didn't play.
Well, I think he is I mean, I don't know. I think they're gonna keep him fresh because he'll be needed. There'll probably be playoff games where he's needed, if somebody gets in foul trouble, or for a specific matchup or something. So they're not gonna completely cut him out of the rotation the rest of the season. But I think the optimal rotation does not include him. You don't need. Between double big and Chet and Ihart alone lineups, there's just not a need for another center.
Frankly. Not just that. Utah, once you get past Walker Kessler, I mean, you're right. Playing with Filipowski, and Filipowski, as big as he is,
John Collins was awesome tonight.
He was, but for as big as Filipowski is, he's always out in the perimeter instead of being, down low. So, yeah, Kenrich. He took care of that just pretty easily. So
yeah, and I don't even know what that specific matchup is because we know Mark likes to zag and when they're zigging, right?
Well, if Dallas gets healthy,
yeah,
they have 3 maybe. Plus Moses Brown plus Thunder legend Moses Brown.
Dallas is probably a good example because because going small against them isn't as effective because AD can guard a small theoretically. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably the one where maybe it's like maybe you want to be double big the whole game, and then Jalen comes in handy. Although like, I mean I don't know, man. Kenrich and like if you go Kenrich and J Dub next to a big, like that's effectively double big to me. Like that's, you know, so but all that to say, like they're not going to cut him completely out of the rotation, but I think there are games where he's not going to play, and especially when you get to the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, at this point, like Kendrick Williams has just been much more effective, kind of in like that small ball center role, specifically like over the last couple of weeks. Like if he keeps shooting like this, I mean, he's phenomenal for us, and it speaks to the versatility of this lineup. You know, like you said, we can go huge with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. Most of the time, we're going to have one of those guys on the court, but like if we want to go small, you know, we can throw Kenrich out there with one of them, or we can have Kenrich as a lone big for like, you know, a small stretch of the game and still feel all right because Kenrich, you know, provides that physicality, provides the rebounding, provides the defense, and now he's providing the floor spacing. So, yeah, it's truly a luxury to have. You know, it would be nice, you know, if at this point Jay Will could, you know, come in and provide those minutes, but just like over the course of the last month, like Kenrich has been much more effective. So he's definitely earned that spot, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you guys remember in Thunder 1.0 how like it was, they were always so big, like no matter what was happening, you were like, at least we are massive and I can fall back on that and feel like comforted by that and warm and cozy, because it was KD, Serge, a center, like especially if it was Adams, Dre, who's like 6'7" at shooting guard, and then Russ, who's big for a guard but is also like a freak athlete. Obviously,
he plays
huge. He plays huge, and so no matter what was going on, like no matter what advantage the other team had, you could always be like, yes, but we are giant and athletic, and that we can fall back on that, you know. And this team has had its crazy advantages and these things that they're awesome at, but they haven't had that where they could just be like the biggest team. And now they have it, and it makes me feel safe. You know, it's like if all else fails, we can throw 2 7-footers, J-Dub with his 7'9" wingspan or whatever, Shea with his 7'2" wingspan, and Dort out there, and just be the big team.
I just see
a set of advantages.
I just see 6'4" Stephen Dolan just nestling in a little cocoon made by Chet, iHeart, Dub, Dort, just arms all around.
Yes, absolutely. Did you guys see the play while we're talking about how big they are? There was a play where Dort stopped a drive and got called for a foul, and I don't remember if it was Markkanen or Filipowski. Yeah. They all look the same, and he they blew the whistle, and he walks up to the ref and he's like, he's in my chest. Yeah. Like did the thing where he like shrugs his shoulders and puffs his chest out. And he's like, in my chest. It's just like, wow, that is actually, yeah, that's a massive chest that you're flexing right there.
He's a tank, man. Yeah, he's an absolute tank. Yeah, I guess if I'm gonna go with my single large item, it is going to be. I was gonna try to smuggle one, but I mean, I'm just gonna talk about Shea's defense. I think Shea's defense was phenomenal tonight. Honestly, I think he should have 4 blocks. By my count, he had 3 blocks in the first quarter. I don't know how one of those got taken away. But yeah, I mean, he was just suffocating off the ball, even on the ball. Like, you know, we talk about how good he's been off the ball in terms of like, you know, just like being a menace in the passing lanes, you know, come over a weak side, help side, blocking shots. But there was multiple times where the guy that he was guarding was trying to take him to the hole. Like I think Keontae George in the first quarter was like trying to drive on Shea and was even trying to like draw a foul on the shot. And Shea just absolutely inhaled that stuff. I think he blocked Lauri Markkanen at the rim from behind, you know, again, on the help side. I mean, he's a very advantageous defender, like 100%. Like, you know, he he takes advantages of, like, coming over on the help, or, just like I said, off ball in the pass line. But he's so much improved. Not just like, creating turnovers, like with the steals and blocks, but like just positionally, man. It feels like he's taken a step up on that area. And, obviously, the news came out about Wemby and, his blood clot in his shoulder. So the heavy decoy favorite is now no longer eligible. So, like, that's up for grabs. Jaren Jackson Jr. had a game-winning block tonight. But when you're looking at the odds, it's like Jaren Jackson Jr., and then I think Evan Mobley's right there, and then it's 3 Thunder players. It's Dort, it's Shea, it's Jalen Williams. And, I mean, we talk about how good this defense is. We talk about it being a historically good defense, one of the best defenses of all time. I mean, I guess, this can kind of, like, transition into the topic of, like, could one of our Thunder players win the Defensive Player of the Year now at this point? And if somebody was going to win, who would it be?
I say no. Because so the whole narrative changes once we know that Wemby cannot win the award. And so I think what's going to happen is the defensive spotlight of this team, now that Chet is back, is going to go back to Chet. And so those 3 guys that, were in position, have the games available to win this type of award, their spotlight is going to be dimmed a little bit because Chet comes back and he has these 3 block games, 2 steal games. He has these louder defensive games than do, Lou Dort, Shea. Shea always has, like, loud defensive games, but, like, Lou Dort in the league, he's known as one of the best defenders in the league. Numbers wise, metrics wise, it's very hard to kind of, like, rationalize that. And so even though, Dort would seem to be the one that deserves it the most, I do think that Chet coming back kind of takes the shine off of all 3 of those players defensively, and kind of prevents them from shining on their own.
Yeah, the Thunder have an unfortunate situation, for this specific thing, not in general, where the 2 best candidates that they would have are Chet and Hartenstein, and they're not eligible. Caruso is also not going to be eligible. Dort is, by all accounts and by most people's opinions, the best defender. However, the advanced stats don't like Lou Dort, and I'm never exactly sure why that is. I think it might be something to do with him always being matched up with the best player, something like that. But I can't imagine he's the only player for whom that's true, so I don't really get it. And then, like, the people who the advanced stats love are Shea and Jalen Williams. And Jalen Williams might actually have the best case based on this, but they don't have the reputation, and they are known as, like, they're taking the weaker matchup because they have the higher, ball handling load. So I just, the Thunder don't have that perfect candidate who is eligible, has the reputation, and has the advanced stats that a lot of people are going to fall back on for something like this. So I just think it's going to be Jaren Jackson Jr. with, like, Evan Mobley having an outside shot, unfortunately. But what I do look at, though, is, like, how many players can the Thunder get on all defense?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it might be like they might have, like, 4 eligible,
3.5,
4 legitimate candidates eligible. They might have Shea, Jalen, Dort, and Kaysen. And I think probably 3 of those have, like, a really good shot. Kaysen might get caught behind not playing enough minutes.
You mean, like, either defensive team, not just first team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, either defensive team, yeah.
Yeah.
With it being positionless, I think it's going to tend pretty heavily towards bigs. But so, those 2 we mentioned for Depoy, they're going to be first team. So there's only 3 spots left after that. You have, like, Dyson Daniels, and then, like, Amin Thompson. Like, he'll probably get a spot. Yeah. People have been talking about him a lot. But I don't know. But I think there might be 3 spots for the Thunder.
Yeah, and in terms of Defensive Player of the Year, I think that the Thunder's, not depth, but as many good defenders as they have actually hurts them, because it's more of, like, a collective unit. Like, it would be Chet. Like, Chet, like, 100%, if he was healthy, like, he would be deserving for sure, because he'd
be the runaway winner. He would be, like, like
Yeah, without
winning
Wemby.
by a mile
Yeah.
with Wemby. Like if he had been playing all season, his stats and advanced stats would be right up there with Wemby. But on this historically great defense, and the Spurs, I don't know, last time I looked, they were like 13th in defense or something. Like he would be running away with this award. It sucks because it's going to be hard to do. Like the Spurs are only going to be better next year, you know, and the defense is probably going to be at least a little bit better. And once Wemby gets one, he's probably not letting that thing go. So this was like Chet's chance. I feel like it's kind of a bummer.
Well, hey, you know, maybe we could be historically great again next year. But I just think that we'll cannibalize each other from that award, just because, like, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen at that point. And I saw somebody, I think it was Ryland, made the point that if any first place vote like goes to a different, like, basically if the first place votes are dispersed like between like Thunder players, it just hurts the chances of one of them, like, you know, kind of rising to the cream of the crop.
Right. I think there will be voters who are like, okay, I pick a Thunder player.
Yeah.
But
which one?
The odds that all those voters pick the same Thunder player are pretty low because we just talked about how many viable candidates there are. So like that is unfortunate.
I will say that
for this specifically, not in general.
Yeah, Dub was propping up Lou on Twitter. I think it was yesterday, whenever the news came out, saying that he's the one deserving. So like I could definitely see, like, you know, if that becomes like a real thing where like, hey, like it's more of a wide open race than we think, like down the stretch, I could definitely see the team kind of rallying around Lou and maybe pushing the votes to go that way. But yeah, at this point, I just think that it's a really good defensive team. And I go back to my point in the offseason whenever I made my bold prediction, like, just give the Thunder's defense defensive player of the year. Like, let's call it, like, give it to Mark Daigneault, defensive player of the year, Mark Daigneault, because I mean, it's got to come from somebody.
I want to hear y'all's thing about this. So as far as Daigneault, so if you have a team that is historically great defensively, they have the probability of best point differential in NBA history. Like, I know Kenny Atkinson has performed above his head in Cleveland, but like this team doesn't get to this point without coaching, you know, without there being a scheme defensively, without there being a scheme as far as the team goes. Like, do you think there's any chance that Mark becomes the first coach to win Coach of the Year 2 years in a row?
I mean, it's the beats expectations award. Like that's what it is. That's how it's voted on. And the Thunder, like,
sucks.
you know, we all listened to the preseason podcasts. Everybody was like calling the Thunder the 1 seed. Now there were even some people who were predicting like high 60s wins. You know, like people said that. So I don't know. I just don't think he has the shock factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in spite of like all the odds stacked against him, like all the injuries that have just been stacked against us, all the shots from the basketball gods after Dolan laughed at us, or after Dolan laughed at him. Yeah, like even with all that, like nobody thought the Cavs were going to be this good. So like, yeah, Kenny Atkinson is like absolutely deserving. Daigneault's also deserving, but if it means one less, you know, speech or statement that Daigneault has to give, I think he'll be most pleased with it. So
thanks for reminding me about the basketball gods, by the way. Like, hey, basketball gods, I legitimately haven't even thought about you in weeks. That's how tough you are.
I don't think about you at all.
I don't even think about you.
That's amazing. All right, fellas, we're going to take a break, hear a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to the next few games, because I don't know if you know this. Tonight was the beginning of 8 games in 13 nights. It's just a hellacious stretch coming up for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But we're going to talk about all that and more on the other side of this break. And we are here with a break. Guys, you guys know we are partnered with Underdog. We've we've won a couple. We won one live that I was able to pick. Unfortunately, it is 1:38 a.m. on the East Coast right now, so there's no NBA games going on. So no live pick Magic today. I'm just going to kind of look ahead at the games being played tomorrow, and we'll craft a little parlay action if you guys want to tap in on this. What game we're looking at? Let's try. Ooh, Lakers Denver, gentlemen. Does that game pique your interest a little bit?
It does. It does. Great players all around.
Interesting game.
All right. We'll start with Alex. Alex, you want to pick a player and a stat category, and I'll tell you the number, and you can pick me higher or lower.
Let's go LeBron in points. Like, he's been amazing since the All-Star break as far as like 40 points yesterday. And so let's go LeBron with points.
All right. His point line is actually at 24.5. His last two games since All-Star break are 40, as you mentioned, 26 the game before that. So are you going higher or lower?
I'm going higher.
Okay. Higher for LeBron. All right, Dolan, what about you?
Give me
Lakers,
give me
Nuggets game.
Jokic's. Give me higher. I don't even care what it is on Jokic's rebounds. Whatever it is, higher.
Jokic's rebounds is at 11.5. He has had 17, 15.
Easy money. Easy money.
Since All-Star break, so we'll go higher on that. Let's see here. I'm going to look at mine. I am going to go lower on Luka Doncic's PRA. He has not been good in his time in LA.
I'm sorry for the listeners.
Points, rebounds, and
aware.
assists.
I
Thank you.
apologize.
Just for the listeners, though. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Points, rebounds, assists. Yeah, his.
At least you didn't say pra.
I never.
Pra?
Never. I'm
What's the
insulted
pra,
that you
bro?
even brought that up.
So pra.
His last three, he had 14, 11, and 8, which is about what? 41. No, 31. Yeah. 31. Then he had 16, 4, and 4, which is 24, and 14, 4, and 5, which is
14,
23.
11, and 8.
14, 11, and 8. That's 25.
33.
33. 23. 33. God, it's late, guys. Leave me alone. Anyways, his PRA is at 37.5. So we are hammering the lower on that one. And then we got to get one more. How do you guys feel? You guys like Oklahoma's own Austin Reeves, Jamal Murray coming on a hot streak, or should we go with the Brody himself?
Do you guys think the Lakers are a good team, a mediocre team, or a bad team?
I think they're mid.
Mediocrely
in the
good.
30s, like top 10, middle 10, or bottom 10.
Middle.
Yeah, they're middle 10. Not Chris, but they are middle 10.
Okay. Well, I did a breakdown because I was just curious, because I felt like I had been watching Nikola Jokic's stat lines in pursuit of this MVP race, and they've been playing a lot of bad teams lately, and he's been scoring a lot. And so I did a breakdown of he and Shea's stats based on if the opponent is top 10, middle 10, or bottom 10 in net rating. And let me read you Jokic's. Against the bottom 10 teams, so bad teams, he averages 33.8 points. Against the middle, 30 points. And against the top 10 teams, only 24.1 points.
Mm-hmm.
He is feasting on the bottom feeders and inflating his stats like that. So if it's the Lakers, or if you're saying they're the middle 10, then he's averaging 30 points on 73% true shooting. So just absolutely torching the mid teams.
Absolutely tearing up the mid teams. Yeah.
But the Lakers have noted Jokic stopper Alex Len.
Yeah. Jackson Hayes.
Jesus Christ.
I guess they'll go small with Dorian Finney-Smith.
Vando.
Here we go.
Yeah,
I've got the last pick here. Russell Westbrook's PRA is at 20.5. Again, points, rebounds, assists for those that are unversed. Trying to see here. He had 18 combined in his last game. That was his first game back from injury. He's playing the Lakers. Wants revenge on LeBron once again for booting him out of town, trading for him, and then using him as a scapegoat, booting him out of town. So Russell Westbrook revenge game, 20.5 PRA. I like it, fellas. If we use this 4-pick parlay, we get 10-time multiplier. So that means, hey, I don't care how late it is. I can do that math. You put $10 down, you're going to win $100 right there. So
Hey, good job.
Put $10 on that little on that higher lower combination again. LeBron higher on points, Jokic higher on rebounds, Luka lower on PRA, and Russ higher on PRA. And put $10 down, you can win $100. $5 down, you can win $50. $1, you can win $10. And when you do that, use our link that you can find in the description. Use the promo code Thunder, and you can get up to $1,000 in bonus credit, as well as one free pick. So you can use all those, and you can pick another pick on there to, boost your winnings a little bit. But yeah, use our promo code, use our link, download Underdog. It's phenomenal. I love Underdog. And if you're feeling bold, go try a streak out. Go start a streak and make some money. But yeah, that's our advertisement. We are back with the podcast, fellas. As I mentioned, we are in the middle of 8 games and 13 days. Which, the more I say it, the more
we're not in the middle. We're in the beginning.
Okay, you know what I mean. Alex, it's late. Leave me alone. So, our next 7 games, we play the Wolves on Sunday in Minnesota. Play the Wolves again on Monday in Oklahoma City. We play the Nets in Brooklyn on Wednesday, the Hawks in Atlanta on Friday. Then we play the Spurs in San Antonio on Sunday, back in OKC on Monday for the Rockets, and then we play the Grizzlies on a Wednesday in Memphis. So 2 home games in that stretch. Fellas, how are we feeling record prediction-wise, those 7 games? 2 home games, 5 road games. Let me see how many back-to-backs. 1 back-to-back, the Spurs and the Rockets game. How are we feeling?
2 back-to-backs.
Tag on it, the February screw me over.
Yeah, the Minnesotas, and then the Rockets Spurs.
Fair.
Sorry. And you're not counting. You stopped before the Denver back-to-back, right?
Yeah, because they go home.
Well, because but right after that, 8 and 13 is another back-to-back, so it's really 10 and 16. That's crazy.
And I think that's the most that you can do in the NBA.
That's crazy.
Probably is without doing a 4 and 5.
Yeah. That is crazy. That is. I mean, if you want to have your players as refreshed as possible, like you don't have an all-star break and then, dump, 10 games and 16 nights on them. Like, that's not how you do that. Like, if anything,
you're wasting it.
Yeah, if anything, go ahead and, keep the all-star break shortened like you used to have it, and then space out some time during the season, for them to rest.
Yeah.
But we're just focusing in on the next 7 games.
Yeah, just capping off the 8 games in 13 days.
I'd say 5 and 2.
2, okay. Dolan, how you feeling?
6 and 1.
Okay. What's the pressure games for you, Alex? Which ones are you saying we lose?
So one of the Minnesota ones, and then probably the Houston one. Houston one is second night of a back-to-back, back at home. I'd say probably the Houston one and one of the Minnesota ones.
Okay. What about you, Dolan?
Nope.
Do you agree with one of those?
I think he's wrong.
Uh-oh. Contention.
I just really trust this team, I just really do. And they just lost to Minnesota. I think they're gonna put a whooping on Minnesota 2 times in a row. They just got beat by them. Yeah. I think they're gonna lay the smack down. I don't even know which one, because I guess Memphis, it's at Memphis, and we just killed them last time, so they're probably gonna have a little extra juice. But we're just
they don't scare me.
Better than Memphis, man. Like just straight up better. So like I don't know. We're not gonna lose to a bad team. I'm just saying 6 and 1 to like hold myself down to earth, because I don't see one that I think we're actually gonna lose.
Well, I am far away from earth. So I'm going to say 7-0 because
Oh,
it's happening. I agree with Dolan. Like, if there's anything we've learned about this team is that we get our get back. Like, you look at the Cleveland games, like it was marginal loss. We were down so many bodies and, it was marginal loss. They come back the next week where we even have more people out. We didn't even have Hartenstein, and we just absolutely beat the tar out of them. So I think it's going to be ugly. Minnesota, obviously, Chet's homecoming didn't go the way that they wanted to. Rudy Gobert sat out again tonight, I believe. Is that right? Saw a notification on that. Maybe.
I don't know.
All right, cool. I think Rudy Gobert sat out tonight, so he might not be playing.
Cone is not on this podcast.
I know. We need the NBA connoisseur.
Rudy Gobert did not play tonight.
Huzzah. I don't know if that's better or worse for us, honestly, though, because Naz Reid was phenomenal. I do think that obviously Chet is going to look a lot better in this matchup, but I think we got to get back against the Wolves, and then I don't think that we would just like turn the switch off at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves again, because as we're kind of going down this stretch, post All-Star break, there's a lot of playoff feel matchups. The back-to-back against the Wolves, the back-to-back against the Nuggets, and then the Lakers with the back-to-back, going into like the last week of the season. Like all of those kind of like very filled playoff style in the way that you make it like, you win or lose, you make adjustments, and then you try to go out there and, fix everything that wasn't working and, try to, kind of do the chess match kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that we win that as well. And then the Rockets, man, the last time we played the Rockets was the loss in the not the in-season tournament, right before the in-season tournament, in which we lost by, 2 points? And it was because Fred VanVleet out of nowhere had 39 points.
And then we demolished them in the NBA Cup.
Yeah, we played them in the Cup, too.
Oh, yeah, that one did count. Sorry, I was thinking the NBA Cup didn't count at all, but it was just the Cup final. But, yeah, no, I mean, that was the most points to this date that anybody scored on the Thunder. And A, Fred VanVleet's out. And B, I don't think we're letting that happen again. And C, we're fully healthy. Like that's the one caveat that we have like going forward is like you can almost throw all the data that you have like from the beginning of the season out the door as an opponent because we are so much better than we were at the beginning of the year, and we're going to continue getting better. So yeah, I think we go 7-0 in the stretch. I think that we laugh at the basketball gods. We laughed at the conditioning gods. And, we rip it off. Okay.
I'm here for it if it happens.
Yeah.
I try to be as realistic and as pessimistic as possible.
You do. And I try to be as optimistic as possible. So we're playing our roles here. Dolan is actually much more optimistic than I ever thought he would be. So
my optimism is backed by the data.
Okay, that checks out. All right, fellas. It's almost at an hour. I kind of wanted to play like a little mini game before we got off here. Again, we're fully healthy. We had the most lineup combinations that we have had all season long. Basically, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw a scenario at you, and I want you to craft the perfect lineup for it. Just kind of rapid fire. You don't got to go against each other. I just want to, make a perfect lineup. So I'm just going to say, Dolan, what is the best 3-point shooting lineup that we can make with the available players right now?
I mean, it's tough because like Dub's not shooting well this season so far, but he'd probably be in it. I guess we don't have a very good one. So like Shea, Joe, Wiggins. You got to go Chet at the 5, and then Dort. I guess that's it statistically.
Yeah.
You could run that. A little small. It's a little small in the, the 4 spot. You got Dort or Shea has to do that. So, but I suppose probably most teams, if you went and named their best shooting lineup, it would have a deficiency on the defensive end.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Alex, give me your best transition lineup.
Transition defense or offense?
Let's go offense.
Give me Shea, Dub, Kaysen. Let's see. Shea, Dub, Kaysen. Give me Chet, and give me Caruso, man. I like some of those transition buckets that he does, and he throws his body out there. So give me Caruso.
I trust him. Right. In transition, it's all about making the right decision, right? Because there is a right decision, and if you make it, you're getting a dunk.
Yeah.
And I trust him to make that decision.
Hey, X Factor. I was thinking Aaron Wiggins. I thought he'd be good there.
Yeah.
I don't know the numbers in transition.
I don't know. I feel like he misses in transition a lot. I also don't know the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's kind of flippy floppy, but all right. Best just all around defensive lineup that you can create, Dolan. Good luck. You have many options.
Yeah, I mean the first decision you have to make is do you or do you not go double big, and that's tough because we just haven't seen enough. But I think so far the numbers have been pretty crazy. So I'll go double big, and then like a realistic lineup, or like we need one stop and there are no egos involved.
The latter.
Well then it's Dort, Kaysen, and Caruso with the double bigs.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Ooh.
And like Dub is a very, very versatile defender, but if you're already covered by double bigs and you don't really need that, just throw the 3 Dobermans out there and let them attack.
That's crazy. That's scary to think about. I like it. All right, Alex, the best playmaking lineup, just passing all around the floor.
Let's see. Playmaking. So give me Shea. Give me Hartenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Queso.
Okay.
Give me Wiggins.
The best spontaneous lob thrower on the team.
Yeah. Give me Wiggins. And are we not including AJ Mitchell? Is he out?
The current available lineup.
So yeah, so Shea, Queso, Hartenstein, Wiggins, and Dub.
Okay. I like it. Let's see here. I guess we'll go ahead and cap this off. We said we try to keep it an hour, so we'll try to keep it an hour. I'm going to ask you guys both this question. I want to see who comes up with the best response here. Chat, you can chime in who you think is the best answer. Give me your best death lineup.
Ooh, death lineups are just so there's a lot of variables involved in that.
Yeah, and you get to choose which one you're going with, and so does Dolan.
It's tough. And again, I think the first thing you have to decide is whether you want double big or not. And I think that's dependent on so many things, like maybe the matchup, maybe not. But we just don't have enough information to know how awesome that lineup is or not yet. But I think that contains 2 of our best 5 players. So double big, Shea, Dub. And then I think you have to decide Dort or Caruso. And I think Caruso.
Man, the internal struggle was real.
It's hard, man. It's I could see an argument for Kaysen in the right lineup too. But yeah, I think those 6. I think we have a pretty clear-cut top 6 at the moment.
Yeah. I would put Dort in there because for some crazy reason, Dort always steps up in big moments.
Yeah.
So
it's true. And the other option is go Shea, Dort, Caruso, Dub, Chet.
Yeah.
Single big. So it's last year's lineup with Caruso and Forgetty.
Yeah, I think that would probably be my answer. But I mean, what's great about it, and like what the whole exercise is to show you, is like just how versatile this freaking team is.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what you need, like whether it's transition, half court, shooting, driving, playmaking, defense, like you name it. Like we have the dogs that we could throw out there and get it. And people want to talk about how a team this young's never done it, how the Thunder haven't proven anything in the playoffs. It's like, dude, if you just pay attention, like Dub was saying earlier in the year, like, are you watching the games? Are you paying attention? And are you watching now? Because this team, as I said, is much different than it was in the beginning of the year. And sure, the Utah Jazz, I get it. They're not a good team. They're tanking, whatever. Like they're scrappy. They're competitive every now and then, but like they were overmatched from tip off tonight. So, like, maybe the Wolves will be a better indication. And if we just absolutely obliterate the Wolves, like, what's the conversation going to be then? What is the benchmark that the Thunder are going to have to reach to earn your respect then? It's just it's gonna be crazy, man. Like, I think it's really going to be scary out for the rest of the league. And, at Dolan, I'd say as long as we are healthy, like, I feel very comfortable about picking us to go to the finals. But as Dolan says a million times, like, he's laughing at the basketball gods. I'm not even going to say that at this point. So it's going to be right.
It's going to be so embarrassing for the basketball gods, Like, they tried to hurt everybody, and they're going to be like, these guys are in the finals? God, we threw everything at these guys.
Jesus. That's crazy. But yeah, no, it's been a ride. It's going to continue to be a ride, but I think it's going to be a rewarding and a very fun ride. And, stick here, man. Stick here atop of Thunder for the ride. Like, we're going to cover it. We took the week off for All-Star break, kind of recharge our batteries. We've been kind of going hard, but we will be back for the rest of the season. 2 pods a week. If something crazy happens, we'll have an emergency pod. We're not in transaction period, so let's not have anything crazy happen, because that can never be a good thing. But yeah, it's going to be a ride. So subscribe to our channel if you're not already. Like this video. That would help us out with the algorithm. Comment down below what you think the Thunder's death lineup should be, and whose lineup you agree with the most. And yeah, it's going to be a blast. If you haven't already, once again, Top of Thunder fan event. The link is live on our Twitter at OKC Topic Thunder. We have, I think, like 40-ish upper level seats available, and I think there's still 2 club level seats. If you want club level seats, I think there's 2 left. So you can tag that last pair. But yeah, like, it's against the Hornets, March 21st. You get to go down to the court, take pictures. You get to take a half-court shot, win a basketball signed by the entire team. And you get to meet all of us, and I mean all of us, for the first time ever. A public appearance of the one and only Stephen Dolan. Our first time meeting him, too. We're just as excited as you guys are. You don't want to miss out. And those upper-level tickets, $16. $16 gets you all of that. So it's going to be –
I feel like there's not enough excitement around, like, just the concept that you get to go on the Thunder basketball court and maybe dribble a ball 5 or 6 times and take a shot. Like,
maybe make a shot.
I'm so excited about just that experience, about just walking on the court and, like, dribbling the ball a little bit.
The players are walking by, too. Like, by the way, like, they're walking to their, like...
You mean they're going to see me make the half-court shot?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, last year we actually saw Trey Mann walking out with his, I think his girlfriend at the time. I don't think they were engaged at that point, but we started chanting Trey Mann, and he, like, saluted us as he walked out. It was awesome. So you can be part of that. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be an unforgettable experience, and yeah, it'll probably be a fun game. And as we said, it doesn't matter if the Hornets are, like, getting injured left and right. It doesn't matter if they're sitting their players at that point. You're not going to watch the Hornets. You're going to watch the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're going to watch a historically great team. And I think somebody said that if you had the chance to go back in time and watch the 96 Bulls, 97 Bulls, like, you're going to do it. Like, you're going to do it every time. And you have the opportunity for a very affordable price to go see the 2024-2025 Oklahoma City Thunder. And, just for a little bit of extra extra season, and you get to see the Top of Thunder crew as well. So do that. $16. Find
And
the link.
LaMelo Ball's not bad either.
LaMelo Ball's great. You get to see Mark Williams, the famous rescinded trade guy. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So don't want to miss out. With that, fellas, unless you guys have anything else to add, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the podcast. It's been great to see your lovely faces. It's been great to talk to the listeners once again. And I hope everybody has a great night. God bless, hooping you can. And as always,